Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here. Welcome to my review for the latest episode of Avataro Sentai DonBrothers. And this episode was our official debut of Don Murasame. It's kind of like his pre-debut. Like, yes, we officially did see him and all that stuff, but it kind of felt like his more teaser debut, which was actually kind of nice because I'm a little bit annoyed that we're stacking the debuts of Gold and Purple on top of each other like we did last year. But they are doing a little bit better than they did last year, but at least this is allowing it to feel like it's breathing a little bit while also teasing something exciting. Because it effectively kind of boils in the background of the episode. You start up with this like mysterious sword zinging around the villain base, and they're like, oh, what the hell is that? And then it like lands, and it kind of sits there for the whole episode, and it's kind of talking to this other thing that it calls Mother. It's like the voice of the sword, and then whatever it's talking to, which is called Mother. And then it just kind of sits there for the whole episode. And then the rest of the episode is kind of some classic Don Brothers shenanigans wrapped up in arc about sort of integrating Gold into the cast. Because the Rangers meet with Momotaro and they say, look, we don't want this guy on our team. He's a straight weirdo. We want a cool Sixth Ranger, not these weird cartoon characters we've been getting all these years. He's like, it's not up to you. This is a Toei decision. They have to be gold or silver in cartoons. It's in the contract. And then later, Gold meets with him and he's like, look, I don't want to just be a subordinate. I want to be like a member of the team. And he's like, okay, well, if you can catch me by surprise, like a surprise attack, then I'll let you be on the team. And that sets up the shenanigans for the episode because Gold is trying to take Red by surprise, and then eventually the others catch on to it. It's actually pretty funny because I think it was Kiji Brother that sees it first. He sees Gold going to attack Momotaro and he doesn't know what's going on, and then he finds out it's a contest. And when everyone else finds out, they're like, can we get in on it too? And so then you have this montage of everybody, including Gold, trying to surprise Red, and if they fail, they have to do like push-ups or jump rope or something. It's like all pretty, entertaining. I didn't find it to be as entertaining as some of the stuff from last week, but it was like decently entertaining. The funniest part was after the rest of the cast got in on it, and then Oni's sister was like, oh, the rest of my teammates have failed, but I will succeed, and it has this dramatic like lightning thunderstorm background. I don't know, I just thought it was funny. And it ultimately leads to them talking to his adoptive father or brother or whatever in the prison dimension, where he says, like, I know how you can distract him with his weakness. His only friend when he was little was a beetle, because remember, everyone hates him. And so you can tell him the beetle's back, and you can just hit him when he's distracted. Meanwhile, there's like another little subplot going on where when Momotaro's running around, he runs into Sonoi, who wants to challenge him to a duel. He doesn't understand how duels work. There wasn't a single Duel Monsters card, no threats of going to the Shadow Realm. I don't know what this guy's doing. But he challenges him to a duel to help people. But, like, who can help the most people? He's like, but you're busy with your job, so I'll help you with your job. And he helps him by following him around and going on the deliveries with him. Which, maybe it was meant to be, like, they'll do the contest while they're doing the job. But I thought, if you wanted to help him, wouldn't you split the deliveries up so he could be done sooner? And then you can do your contests? But whatever. That kind of set up Sonoi to be there when the others were doing the contest thing, which was funny because then when they try to attack him, Sonoi takes it way too seriously. And eventually, like I said, they try to use Momotaro's weakness against him, but they can't bear to do it. They're like, it was weird because they said, I don't want to do it because I don't want Momotaro to lose because he's so great. I'm like, no, don't say that. I like the bit where we're down on this Red Ranger type. I thought it was going to come down to like, oh, we don't want to win this way. Like it was a cheap victory. But they more so said, because we don't want him to lose? Maybe it was because they didn't want to do it that way. Maybe I just misinterpreted the way they translated it. But bottom line is, all the shenanigans wind up getting interrupted by the arrival of our new Ranger here, who flies in as a sword, but then transforms. So it looks like, at least for the time being, there's not going to be an actor for it. It's just going to kind of be this sword that transforms, and like the henshin voice for it actually is probably the coolest sounding henshin voice. I think it's the only changer voice amongst the three that doesn't sound obnoxious to me. Although the voice actor sounds like a kid. I don't know what that's about. The suit's pretty cool. I still think the helmet reminds me a little bit too much of Kiji Brothers. It looked like they based it off of that, but it's still pretty neat looking. And it was a pretty cool debut fight because the way he fights sometimes is really fun. Like he uses the whole shark theme and he'll like duck under the ground like it's water and pop back up. And there's like even a moment where he uses the sword as a shark fin, which is kind of cool. And then they do an alter fight where he transforms into his alter form, which is like a shark as like as a vehicle, as an animal, and then the robot mode, which looks really cool. It might be my favorite of the three alters, I'm not sure. But he gets in an alter fight between purple, red, and gold. And it sucks because it's like, those are such cool forms, and I hate that they're wasted on these dinky little robot fights. Like, it's like really these badass forms, like, oh, we're gonna do an alter fight, and then you zoom out and it's like, psst, 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 psst. It reminds me of that scene in Ant-Man where it's this epic fight and then they zoom out to show you the true scale of it. It's like, but they do an alter fight and then ultimately, Purple retreats, I think, at the request of the mother voice or whatever, and we kind of end the episode off there. And that was his debut. Like I said, it kind of felt like, even though it was his full debut where we get to see the suit and the alter form and all that, it felt like more of a teaser form because it kind of started and ended the episode where the rest of the episode in between was something else, which I did kind of like. I think they did that well in the sense that it kind of gives you something exciting and new while teasing more of something exciting and new, but it doesn't sort of get in the way of the other stuff going on as we're still trying to debut Gold, because it all is a bit muddled right now. Well, not muddled, but just busy, I guess, because you have Purple debuting, Gold just debuted, we still don't have his place on the team set, we still have his alternate personality story storyline to deal with, which actually I'm fine with that. I don't even mind if that goes on for a longer time. I don't need them to rush through that. It's just, we got a lot going on. Not to mention, in this episode, you know, Black Ranger was in it, and he had a brief encounter with the female villain, talking about their bet from last week, and it reminds me that he's still not brought into the fold. Kind of crazy that he's not in the fold, and we've debuted 2 new Rangers. So it is a little bit busy, and not to mention all of that, we still don't know any information on Zenkaiser Black, which is kind of crazy, honestly, but overall, I did like this episode. I would say it's a 3 out of 5. It felt a little bit jumbled for me. I didn't enjoy the shenanigans as much as last week, but I did find it to be an overall enjoyable episode with pretty cool debut from Murasame there at the end. And not like I think it's super messy, busy, but I do think it's a little bit busy, and I hope things straighten out a little bit. I'm curious to see when Black finally gets integrated into the rest of the cast, because sometimes I forget that he's not integrated in there. We'll see how long that takes. But what did you guys think of the episode and the debut of our new Ranger? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you can get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.